I'm going to show you how to make a tessellation using Photoshop. And we're going to be using a lot of the skills you've already learned. You've already learned how to make a shape in Photoshop. You've already learned how to make a repeating pattern in Photoshop. And you've already learned how to make a tessellation in real life with paper. This exercise brings it all together. So start by creating a new file. Click on New File if you haven't already done so. And we're going to title this Tessellation Tile. And I want you to make it 2000 pixels. Make sure it's pixels, not inches. Pixels by 2000 pixels. And just 72 dpi is fine. Click on Create. Okay, now that I'm in the file, I want to create a square within here. And this square, I want it to be a very specific size. So you're going to have to go up to the top of your screen and type in the size. I want it to be 1000 by 1000. Now, this square is going to be a little bit like the Post-it note that you used in class. And I want it to be in exactly the middle of my piece, so I'm going to slide it around using the Move tool. The Move tool is up in the left corner, and it has these little arrows on it. I'm going to kind of slide that around until I've got it in exactly the middle. Perfect. Okay, at this point, if you haven't already made your layers visible, make your layers visible because you're going to want to see what you're doing. And we're going to add a shape on to this piece. And let's just start with a rectangle. Why not? Okay, that's perfect. Now, as you remember from when we did tessellations in class, whatever we add to the left side, we are going to have to take away from the right side. So I'm going to create a new version of this rectangle. I'm going to go to Layer, Duplicate Layer. Okay. And now I have two of these. But I want to make one of them coming out of the other side. And for that, we need a very special tool called Filter Offset. So I'm going to go to the Filter option up at the top. And then I'm going to scroll down. For you, it will probably be under Other. And choose Offset. Now, what Offset does is it will move the shape a specific amount. And because this is on the side, I want to move it horizontally. And I want to move it 1000 pixels because this is a 2000 pixel white square. So if I move it 1000 pixels, I'm kind of moving it to the other side. And it should say wrap around down here. Don't change it vertically at all. Okay, I've got horizontal 1000 pixels right. I'm going to click on OK. Now that was perfect. The only problem is that the shape is white. Or excuse me, the shape is blue. So I'm going to go down to my color. And I'm going to choose the paint bucket tool. And I'll have to rasterize this shape, but that's okay. And now it's white. Okay, so you can see it's exactly the same thing we did in class with the Post-it note. I'm just removing from one side what I added on to the other side. All right, let's keep practicing. Let's do a few more shapes. Let's do another blue shape. I'll tell you a little trick that's useful with this blue shape. You can click on the eyedropper tool over on the left side. And then you can get that same shade of blue back. Okay. And I'm going to choose the ellipse this time. And I'm going to make this ellipse out of... Oops, you know what? I made it go a little too far to one side, so I'm going to move it in a little. There we go. Now I've got my ellipse. That's really nice. Cool. Great. Now, once again, whatever you do to one side, you do the opposite to the opposite side. So if I added an ellipse to the top, I need to remove an ellipse from the bottom. So I'm going to create a new version of this layer, layer, new, duplicate layer, okay. And then I'm going to filter it again, filter, offset, but, and this is very important, do not do it horizontally 1,000 pixels this time. This time, do vertical 1,000 pixels. Great. And then we're going to change our color to white, and we're going to fill that shape on the bottom with white. There we go. And you can see I've created a shape here that would tessellate. And to me, it looks a little bit like a little monster. So I'm going to start having a little fun. I'm just going to add a googly eye to this piece to give it a little bit of expression. Very cool. And a little googly eye within there. And I think I forgot to change the color to black for the inside, so I'm going to quickly do that. Now it's a black eye. And if I wanted to do some other fun things within the shape at this point, I could. I don't know. Maybe that's enough. So I have my little monster, and I know he tessellates because I followed all the rules. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add all these different shape layers together and like combine them to be one shape so that he's one layer all together. So I'm going to click on the top one, the one that has the eye in it, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and click all the way to the bottom. So now I've got all the shapes that are in the monster highlighted. And I'm going to go to Layer, Merge Layers. Okay, so now you can see all my monster shapes are in one shape layer. Okay? Now, this is where it gets really exciting. I'm going to create a new version of this, and I'm going to make it tessellate. So I'm going to go up to layer, and once again, we're just doing duplicate layer. Super. And this time, when I do filter offset, I'm going to go 1,000 up and 1,000 to the right. Okay? So you can see now I've got my little monster tessellation pattern. Okay? We're not 100% finished yet because I still need to go over to edit, and under the edit list, I'm going to go down to define pattern, and here I'm just going to write monster tessellation pattern. Okay, so now my computer has saved that as a pattern, and I can make a bigger file, and I can fill the bigger file with this pattern. So now I'm going to go to File, New, and I want it bigger, so instead of doing 2,000, I'm going to do 10,000 this time, and I'm going to give it the title Monster Tessellation, create. And then I'm going to go to Edit and Fill. And I should be able to choose the monster option. And now I have a completed monster tessellation. And because I did it in Photoshop, it is completely accurate, no mistakes whatsoever. Okay. You probably remember how to export something to your desktop to save it on your computer as a JPEG, but I'm just going to remind you. So if you want to save it on your computer as a JPEG, go to File, Export, Export As. Sometimes this takes a minute. Go to JPEG and Take a deep breath as your computer very slowly figures out what it needs to do. And then you're going to click on export. And I'm going to save this to my desktop so I can find it really, really easily later. Save. And then this will probably take a minute again because for whatever reason this process is always really slow. So we'll just wait a minute. All right, there we go. So now it's on my computer. It's finished. And I'm going to save it on my Photoshop Cloud too. So I'm also going to do File, Save, and Monster Tessellation, Save. There we go. And that is your Photoshop Tessellation project. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, one more thing. If you just really want to go for it and have fun, you can change the colors of the monsters at this stage. So if you wanted every monster to be a different color, why not? Go for it.